Coach Mangini back with us. Time for Under Duress. I'm also not a mascot. Each Thursday, Chris Broussard takes us through which players, coaches, maybe even general managers need a big-time performance. Perhaps some slightly hot seats after a slower start than expected through 3 weeks. So, Chris Broussard, get us going here. Which 5 guys are under the most duress entering week 4?
All right, Jenna, I'm about to bring the pain to the panel because I'm going to attack some sacred cows. All right, and it's starting with Nick's sacred cow. Yes, Patrick Mahomes, Nick. He is number 5 on my list, and he is indeed under duress. They're 1-2. First losing record in his career, and the first time he's receiving anything close to criticism. All right, I mean, the unnecessary no-look pass that ended in an interception, the interception that he threw near the end of the Chargers game that led the Chargers to their game-winning drive. I mean, look, they're 1-2 in a tough division with 2 undefeated opponents. All right, they can't afford to fall to Philadelphia, and I don't think they will, but Pat Mahomes better go out there and produce. And, Nick, there's this. That defense can't stop anybody. So he's got to put like 35 points up a game to win. And so that, my friend, is duress for one Patrick Mahomes. All right, at number 4, Pete Carroll. I know you're saying, well, Pete Carroll's a Super Bowl winning coach. He's not going anywhere. No, he's not on the hot seat. He's not getting fired. But Pete better start fixing that defense. Russ is cooking. All right, Russ is playing fine, but they're 1-2 for a reason. Because the defense can't get off the field. All right, the defense, they are last, the Seattle Seahawks, in time of possession in the NFL at 23 minutes, 20 seconds a game. Russ is doing his thing, but he's not getting enough opportunities. Not to mention this, one Pete Carroll is being out-executed, out-adjusted. Let's put it that way. Other teams are making adjustments at halftime, and Carroll's not. Because Seattle leads the NFL in first half points. And they're dead last in the NFL in second half points at 4.3 per game in the second half and overtime. So that's a big thing. Pete got to step it up. All right, at number 3, Ben Roethlisberger. This was not a surprise. We see what's happening in Pittsburgh. Ben looks like he has absolutely nothing left. The defense is legit. And people are saying, well, if the defense is doing it, it's got to be on Ben. Plus, you're looking at him, and he's looking bad. But they got no offensive line. They got no running game. Still, they're averaging the fewest points they ever have under Ben Roethlisberger. And people in Pittsburgh are saying, you got to get your act together, Ben. Because, look, they got Green Bay, Denver, Seattle, and Cleveland upcoming. They could easily go from 1-2 to 1-6 or 2-5. And then not only is the season pretty much over, but Big Ben's career in organized football is also over. At number 2, Wilds, I'm sorry to do it to you, Bill Belichick. Yes. Look, whether you blame Brady for leaving or Belichick for kicking him out, whatever the case, at best, Bill Belichick was indifferent to the greatest quarterback ever to play the game, to staying in New England. He knows Tom Brady as a football player better than anyone, and yet he underestimated him. He misread him. He thought he was old. He thought he was finished, and he was dead wrong. And now, Sunday, boy, his worst nightmare is coming to his front step, knocking on his door, because Tom Brady's going to own Foxborough, Wilds. Oh, they're going to be Brady jerseys all over the place. There's a video montage celebrating him. I bet there'll be tears in the crowd. They're going to stand ovation. It's going to be long, and it will go on all 60 minutes unless Belichick can find a way to beat Brady. Now, look, he's lost the divorce clearly, at least to this point. And the win's not going to turn the tables. It's not going to even the score. But it will be a nice little respite from all the Tom Brady coronation and a small victory for Belichick in this thus far lopsided breakup. And at number 1, I think this one's undeniable. Matt Nagy. I mean, unlike the other 2 coaches on this list, he literally is on the hot seat. The way he's handled this quarterback situation is indefensible, and it got even worse. It went from indefensible to something beyond indefensible. When he threw Nick Foles in the mix. All right, first we got Andy Dalton, we got Justin Fields. Now Nick Foles' name is out there. My goodness. And I have not really seen much of this. But after that game on Sunday, when Justin Fields' stats are ungodly, unsightly, 6 for 20, 68 yards. I saw ex-football players and coaches on television not criticizing Justin Fields, but criticizing Matt Nagy. They pilloried him for his game plan. It darn near went as far as to say he sabotaged his rookie quarterback by having a game plan that was totally opposite of what it should have been for Justin Fields. We even saw the Cleveland Browns, Myles Garrett, saying, look, I got 4.5 sacks because the game plan was terrible.
Started 500 or less, and he's been great from October on. He's the 5th best from October on, and he's still, as Russell Wilson, he's needs to come off.
Wow.
Well, like I said, Coach, he's not on the hot seat, and you're right. Their defense really played well at the end of last season, but why the fall off? That's what I'm saying. Like, they were bad at the beginning of the last season defensively, great toward the end. I would have expected them to be great at the beginning of this season defensively to go with that offense. So I do think Carroll deserves to be on that list, as do the rest. I mean, Pat Mahomes, yeah, it might be rich people problems, but he got to step it up.
Okay, listen, Broussard, great vocabulary, great delivery, great entertainment, but this is why you need a committee. This is why any of these tiers, lists, things, it's too much pressure for one man, because after you did a pretty good job last week, you crumbled this week. Right? The incongruity between, so you have the 1 and 2 Seahawks, whose problem has been defense, but the coach is on the list, and then the 1 and 2 Chiefs, who you say have the worst defense in football, but we're putting Patrick Mahomes on the list? Just scratch him off. Oh, Mahomes with his 3rd most touchdown passes in football, top 7 in yards and passer rating. There is no world where the pressure's on Patrick Mahomes. And if it were, he's going to be in Philadelphia this weekend. I'm actually going to be there. We'll have a little pep talk before the game, make sure he's feeling well, and they're going to go annihilate the Eagles. Big Ben, I disagree with Coach entirely. Listen, here's the deal. Coach has an affinity for Big Ben that is rare for his affinity for players that he never actually coached. Because Big Ben plays the game the way Coach respected, and he caused his teams trouble. But Big Ben these days, look, we can't show you the highlights because they're gratuitous and mean. But it's not the offensive line. It's not the running game. It's the mummified man who's playing quarterback. So Big Ben, you got right. The only issue I have with the top 3 on your list, Broussard, is Belichick should be number 1. This is going to be the highest rated football game of the year. We have Adele doing promos for it. It is the most... Wilds has done a very odd thing where he's been talking about this game for 8 months, but now that he's very nervous, the Patriots are going to get dog-walked. He's like, week 4 in 2021, put it on a Wikipedia page. Yeah, buddy, it's a big game, and it's going to be a 3-hour and 20-minute dissection of Belichick's personnel moves and his decision to eschew Brady out the door. What Matt Nagy has going for him is, outside of the city of Chicago, nobody really cares. And in Chicago right now, they're more concerned about the fact that they might be moving the stadium to Arlington Heights instead of Soldier Field. So I just think Belichick, because of the scrutiny of this moment, and because the two teams are going in such different directions, Broussard, probably should be number 1 this week.
Not a bad point about Belichick, but like I said, Nagy will probably be ousted sometime soon, so that's why he's number 1. But Mahomes, here, look, when you see Mahomes, like, I know you want nothing more than to have the Chiefs get on a roll and win the Super Bowl, right? You're not helping them by babying. Now, I think Coach will back me up as a great coach. You're not helping them by babying them. You got to give them some tough love, all right? Everything's okay. Don't worry, Pat, about the interceptions. Don't worry about the no-look passes. Oh, the defense is fine. No, it's not. They need a kick in the hiney. And if you, as their number 1 fan, would get on national television and start reading them the riot act, then they might get their act together.
Hey, Chris, I agree that Nick has rose-colored glasses. He definitely has rose-colored glasses with Patrick Mahomes, but in his defense, it's kind of merited. The guy's been pretty amazing.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you. I appreciate that. Go ahead, Wilds.
Okay, there's a number of issues here. First of all, Brad Pitt is the #1 Kansas City Chiefs fan, not Nick Wright. So Brad Pitt still wears the crown. Second of all, Belichick should not be on this list. It's like if Jay-Z dropped an album all of a sudden today, like, this better be good or we're moving him down the list. No, you're not. His list remains the same. His Wikipedia entry does not change. The guy who needs to be on this list, and because you know I have an affinity for former Patriots coaches, is my guy, Double J, Joe Judge. Joe Judge is great at press conferences, had a mistake, though, yesterday. Let's take a listen.
The analytics is just a tool. It's nice to look at the numbers and how they go through the flow of the game, but the analytics changes based on the opponent, based on who you have available for the game, and how the flow of the game's going, too. You can look at a stat sheet all you want. I promise you, if XL was going to win football games, Bill Gates would be killing it right now.
Okay.
Joe Judge?
What are you doing?
Joe Judge, you're not at the Comedy Cellar, buddy. You're opening yourselves up because we all know that Bill Gates and you have won the same amount of games this year. So leave the comedy to the professionals and you stay coaching. Here's the problem with Joe Judge. Started the year 1-7. Everybody's like, what's up with Joe Judge? Started his career. Then he won 4 straight. Like, yeah, Joe Judge is back. Now he's lost 6 of 7. So, look, the Giants' schedule gets brutal. A lot of people think they play the Steelers this weekend. They do not. They play the Saints.